Fresh out of college, no job prospects. Then my cousin Jessica got pregnant and asked me to help out with the postpartum period, room and board, plus a measly $1,800 a month. From tending to Jess, bathing and changing the baby, to cleaning the whole house and cooking for everyone, it was all on me. Then a wealthy woman from our gated community, Mrs. Sterling, heard about how detail-oriented I was and wanted to poach me to care for her sister after she gave birth. $30,000 a month, only focusing on the new mom. A full-time nanny would handle the baby. Jessica straight up turned her down for me. Me and my cousin were like family. She's not about that shallow stuff. I ended up living in a converted patio with cheap materials and got leukemia from the fumes, all for a family favor. I died broke in the hospital. Then I woke up. I was back on the day. Mrs. Sterling offered me the job. Chapter 1. My cousin's practically my sister. She's not some money-grubbing type. You can forget about it. Those familiar words jolted me back. I finally recognized where I was, who was standing in front of me, and realized I had been given another chance. Just like before, the wealthy Mrs. Sterling was still trying to convince me and upping her offer. Chloe, right? I need you to help with my sister, Ashley. $30,000 a month. All you'd have to worry about is Ashley. I'll get you great health insurance, a 401k, holidays off, bonuses. I really need someone who's as thorough and attentive as you seem to be. Just think about it, okay? She handed me her business card with perfectly manicured nails. Jess's eyes were twitching. She swatted the card away. Are you deaf? I said, no way my cousin is going to your house, no matter how much money you throw around. You think you're hot stuff with your fancy money, huh? Jess was so sure I would refuse the offer. She was practically cackling at Mrs. Sterling. Oh, so you have all this money. Why are you digging for help in my house? You trying to act like some big shot? Without missing a beat, I picked up the business card from the floor. I'd love to. When do you need me to start? Jess stared at me with her jaw dropped, unable to believe what I just said. Can you start next Monday? You can wrap things up here, and I'll have my driver pick you up Monday morning. Mrs. Sterling, whose name was Evelyn Sterling, and I exchanged numbers. Then she left. As soon as she turned her back, Jess raised her hand, ready to hit me. Good thing I dodged. The swing missed, and she was even more furious. Chloe, have you lost your mind? I'm your cousin. How could you betray me for a few $1,000s? Her face was all red and puffy. Her body looked ready to explode. I rolled my eyes at her. Come on, Jess, you always say we're like sisters. Shouldn't you be happy that I found a better job? Besides, your pittance of a salary isn't even enough for my groceries for a month. You being a cheapskate shouldn't stop me from bettering my situation. Chapter 2. If there was one thing my cousin couldn't stand, it was being called cheap. She started yelling, pointing at me. Chloe, haven't I been good enough to you? With your junior college diploma, if it wasn't for me taking you in and giving you a job, you'd still be home doing nothing. Besides, look at your skill set. Do you really think you deserve a $30,000 salary? You're going to get scammed, and you'll be too naive to notice. When she saw I wouldn't give in, she lowered her voice to threaten me. As family, I'm just saying, don't sell yourself short for the money. That woman's young to have all that money. It's probably not legit. Don't get in over your head. Don't say I didn't warn you. We didn't end on a good note. She demanded I get out of her house immediately. I was more than happy to and quickly packed up my things. Jess's house was small, 2 bedrooms and a living room with a small balcony. Ever since I arrived, the second bedroom was turned into a kid's room, so I stayed in a cramped area Jess had built on the balcony with cheap materials. The patio was small and stuffy, filled with a strong chemical smell. I lived here for almost 6 months and just like before got leukemia. I made $1,800 a month, doing everything for Jess's family, taking care of the baby, walking the dog and cleaning the whole house. They said they provided food and a room, but I was always footing the grocery bill, and they always had excuses for not paying me back. I asked about it twice, and Jess started telling my parents that I was an ungrateful freeloader. Because of the family ties, my parents told me to just endure it. It was a bad job market, and I might not find any job at all, let alone one paying $1,800. So, I suffered in silence, which led to the cancer diagnosis. Once I was diagnosed, Jess's family kicked me out right away, terrified I would infect their kid. My parents came over to ask what happened, but no one answered the door. They knew the walls were made from materials with high levels of formaldehyde, so they packed up and left town to go on vacation, not wanting to get involved. My parents spent all of their savings trying to treat me, but it was useless. I ended up dying in the hospital. I never want to experience that again. Lying in a hospital bed watching my life fade away. Chapter 3. The day Evelyn was scheduled to pick me up, her driver showed up in front of my house. Even the nanny shuttle was a 7-figure luxury car. I was just a country bumpkin staring in awe. I had researched Evelyn online the past few days. She was the heir of Sterling Corp, and her sister's name was Ashley. Ashley was said to have a bad relationship, was conned into marriage by some lowlife and then got pregnant. The guy turned out to be abusive. Ashley was tormented by him. After Evelyn rescued her, Ashley was too far along to get an abortion, so she had the baby. She had severe postpartum depression. During my hospital stay, I read in the news that the Sterling's second daughter was suffering from severe postpartum depression and had jumped off a building with her baby in her arms. But that was the past. I had dealt with Jess's crazy family. Now with the salary from Evelyn, I would do my best in this job. Ashley lived in the same community as Jess, but in a luxurious apartment. My room was bigger than Jess's master bedroom. It was well lit, well ventilated with a massive window. It was my dream room. My job was easy, just assist in helping Ashley with her daily life, take notice of her moods and talk to her. There was a nanny who was taking care of the baby. Ashley was always very quiet and fragile. She would just sit by the window looking off into space. She was like a porcelain doll about to break. Fortunately, I'm naturally upbeat, and she hadn't rejected all forms of social interaction. I stuck by Ashley, always near her. My first goal was to make sure I wasn't a threat to her. I always put fresh sunflowers, her favorite flower, in a vase and made sure to slowly get her used to the flavors she liked. I soon discovered that she loved blue, liked listening to piano, and slept with a teddy bear. Slowly, I made the house a place where she felt safe. She was starting to open up to me, sharing her pains. When she did, I'd listen. I would hold her and reassure her. She gradually got better and started to drop her guard. She was even joking with us. The weather was great that day. There was a huge wisteria bloom in the park. I saw that she wanted to go out, so I asked, "Do you want to go for a walk with me?" It had been some time since she'd stepped outside. She was having a good day. She sat underneath the wisteria, a gentle breeze blowing through her hair. I was chatting to her when I suddenly felt a strong force push me from behind. "You two-faced, ungrateful piece of garbage." Chapter 4. I went face first into the ground. The sudden turn of events startled Ashley, who stood up and covered her ears, screaming and panicking. Ignoring my pain, I quickly got up and put my arms around Ashley to reassure her. I finally managed to calm her down. The person who pushed me was Jess's mother-in-law. Jess's mother-in-law didn't live in our community. When Jess gave birth and I was hired, she took it as a chance to enjoy her golden years, only showing up once in a while. Every time she saw me, she would give me dirty looks. She would complain about me to my parents, telling them that I was lazy and greedy, and that paying me a salary was a huge favor. Are you nuts? I was upset and worried. Ashley was unstable, and having been through an abusive relationship, she was prone to emotional distress. I was terrified. If she had pushed Ashley instead of me, I wouldn't even want to think about what might have happened. The old hag didn't look guilty at all. Instead, she started bad-mouthing me. Well, if it isn't the gold-digging nanny my family fired, huh? She was surrounded by other ladies who went to the same dance class, and they all started looking at me with disapproval. I didn't want to engage with her. I just wanted to get Ashley home, but she grabbed me and refused to let me go. What, did I hit a nerve? Are you guilty? My daughter-in-law was nice enough to just let you go, but I'm not as forgiving. She clapped loudly, trying to draw attention. Everyone, come here. This woman used to work for me. We paid her good money to work for us, but she did nothing but laze around. I've also caught her eating stuff we bought for my daughter-in-law. She's a horrible person. Don't hire a nanny like her. Spread